It's so soulful. So beautiful. You know what it is. So we came from the east. Had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm on 125th, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teach you, fell in love with a priest. And a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Deprived of my innocence by shit I was exposed to. Everything I did I was supposed to. Suppose you was poor and living with the heat off. SSI paying bills, mama like how she gon' feed y'all? Couches we go to sleep on, bad water on stoves. Light bill overdue, it get cold, open the stove. Comcast get cut off, we cutting it right back on. Noticed it coming home, notices on the door. 30 days till you big U-Hauls, Motel 6, stay a couple of days, move in with a family friend. Promises for the first to pay you back on the third. Search for another house, they put our shit on the curb. Never uttered a word, came from a broken home. Mama was never there, my pops was a rolling stone. Nothing was ever given, they say you get what you give. Had to go through what I went through to give you what I lived.
So we came from the east. Had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm on 125th, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teach you, fell in love with a priest. And a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Now downtown Oakland, I'm just holding posts. I'ma do this shit forever, cause it's all I know. Yeah, I'm in this shit deep, I gotta hold my nose. Went and put on all black, yeah, I joined the code. At the table with wise men, I'm just taking notes. Fuck the beast, kill the body, but can't kill the soul. Get with your brothers, never leave and never break that oath. Hardest thing to do is go to him alone. Build a zone for my brick in like Craig did. UBK, look, I'm airy where the reds is. Same serpent in the garden, they just shed skin. Gotta go to war to find peace, yeah, that's real shit. I seen the Lord take his spirit from men, and without this brotherhood, I end up like them. Look, there's wisdom behind these battle scars. Circle small, cause ain't no telling what these cowards
so
on.
We came from the east. Had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm on 125th, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teach you, fell in love with a priest. And a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Leviticus 20 and 26, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people. God severed you, black man, from other people. You got no business joining the white man. You was brought here for slavery, now time of slavery is up. You're supposed to be in the ghetto helping black people. You're supposed to be getting them off of drugs, stopping the crime, re-educating them. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Instead, you a jungle monkey for the white man. Right. You march down 6th Street begging the white man for your own civil rights.
Came from the east.
White man hijacked your civil rights movement. You running down 6th Street begging him to be part of it. When God said, I separated you from other people, man. Why you think black people don't love each other? You gave all your love to the white man.
Well, it is, right?
That's why you can't love each other.
Well, it is. Right.
White man looking at you like, what the hell is these black people's problem? Your problem is you done gave all your love to them. And you left none for your own. And let me tell you what else you do. You hate anybody that speak about your cause. Nobody, black people don't hate nobody more than a black man that speak on their behalf. They hate him the most. That's why you killed Christ. You killed Christ because Christ wanted to give you the kingdom of heaven. You said, oh, hell no. We sticking with the Romans. That's why it said in the Bible, you said, we have but one king, and Caesar is his name.
It's so soulful. So beautiful. You know what it is. So we came from the east. Had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm on 125th, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teacher fell in love with a priest and a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the
deprived
east.
of my innocence by shit I was exposed to. Everything I did I was supposed to. Suppose you was poor and living with the heat off. And since I paying bills, mama like how she gon' feed y'all? Couches we go to sleep on, bad water on stoves. Light bill overdue, it get cold, open the stove. Comcast get cut off and cutting it right back on. Noticed it coming home, notices on the door. 30 days till you Vic U-Hauls, Motel 6. Stay a couple of days, move in with a family friend. Promises for the first to pay you back on the third. Search for another house, they put our shit on the curb. Never uttered a word, came from a broken home. Mama was never there, my pops was a rolling stone. Nothing was ever given, they say you get what you give. Had to go through what I went through to give you
So
what I
we came
lived.
from the east, had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm a 1-2-5, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teacher fell in love with a priest and a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Now I'm downtown Oakland, I'm just holding posts. I'ma do this shit forever, cause it's all I know. Yeah, I'm in this shit deep, I gotta hold my nose. Went and put on all black, yeah, I joined the code. At the table with wise men, I'm just taking notes. Fuck the beast, kill the body, but can't kill the soul. Get with your brothers, never leave and never break that oath. Hardest thing to do is go to him alone. Build a zone for my brick in like Craig did. UBK, look, I'm area where the reds is. Same serpent in the garden, they just shed skin. Gotta go to war to find peace, yeah, that's real shit. I seen the Lord take a spirit from men, and without this brotherhood, I end up like them. Look, there's wisdom behind these battle scars. Circle small, cause ain't no telling what these cowards
So
on.
we came from the east, had to go to war just for me to find peace. Fuck the police, they got the mark of the beast. I'm a 1-2-5, you can see me in the streets. Seen a nigga teacher fell in love with a priest and a rush for the bread like we ain't got yeast. Put studs on my garment, now I'm late to the feast. I'm a Wild West nigga, you can check the receipts. Ask me where I'm from, so we came from the east.
Leviticus 20 and 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people. God severed you, black man, from other people. You got no business joining the white man. You was brought here for slavery. Now time of slavery is up. You're supposed to be in the ghetto helping black people. You're supposed to be getting them off of drugs, stopping the crime, re-educating them. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Instead, you a jungle monkey for the white man. You march down 6th Street begging the white man for your own civil rights.
Came from the east.
White man hijack your civil rights movement. You running down 6th Street begging him to be part of it. When God said, I separated you from other people, man. Why you think black people don't love each other? You gave all your love to the white man.
Well, it is, right?
That's why you can't love each other.
Well, it is.
White man looking at you like, what the hell is these black people's problem? Your problem is you done gave all your love to them. And you left none for your own. And let me tell you what else you do. You hate anybody that speak about your cause. Don't nobody, black people don't hate nobody more than a black man that speak on their behalf. They hate him the most. That's why you killed Christ. You killed Christ because Christ wanted to give you the kingdom of heaven. You said, oh, hell no. We sticking with the Romans. That's why it say in the Bible, you said, we have but one king, and Caesar is his name.
It's so soulful.
All right. Shalom, shalom, Israel. Can everybody hear me all right? Let's see if everybody can hear me all right. Let's see. Shalom, shalom. All right. I got a One West, Most High Christ. All right. All right. I got a couple of them. Most High Christ. Shalom. We're at the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm the Commanding General Yohana, and we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group or any Christian organization. All right. Tonight is the history class. Tonight is the history class. This is a continuation from last week's class. Uh, so hopefully, if everybody was taking some good notes, getting some good perspective on what we were talking about last week, we're just going to continue it on this week. All right. But first, we want to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabbat and to the sisters, Shalom, Yahweh Shamar, Alatham, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. We're going to do some quick shout outs. Got some folks in the building. Shalom at the water to y'all. Uh, my real sister I is in the building. Shalom, sis. My brother, Officer Yagadar, is in the building. Shalom, brother. Aqua Kenyesa is in the building. Shalom. Let's see. Aqua Diana is in the building as well. Shalom, sis. My brother, Trooper Kazaki, is in the building. Good to see you, brother. It's good to see you over the weekend, brother. Damn good to see you. All right. And brother Kushal is in the building as well. Shalom, brother. Good to see you as well. All right. So before we continue, we got a lot of information to go over in a relatively short period of time. It's a lot. So before we jump back into what we were talking about last week, right? Before we jump back into that, I do have a question. If you, well, let's see, who is familiar with Daryl Davis? I believe it's his name. Daryl Davis. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. So, like, give me 1 second. All right, so lock you for that. All right, yeah. Who is familiar with Daryl Davis? Who may have heard of this brother? I'm gonna use that term loosely. Use that term loosely. A lot. Who is or is not familiar with Daryl Davis? I said that. Sister Ra'aya said la. All right, Sister Deanna said Khan. Okay. All right. Who else? And Sister Deanna, if you could give us just something brief on what you know about the brother. I want to make sure that we are talking about the same person. Can you give me just something, just a brief of how you're familiar with him? Anybody else who is or is not familiar with Daryl Davis? Sister Nizam Anat is also in the building. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. All right. All right. Everybody in here. Let's see who's familiar. I got two. I got one Khan. I got one La. Well, damn. Obviously, Yagadar is definitely familiar with the brother. And Sister Deanna is as well. Most High in Christ. Y'all are absolutely on it. Sister Deanna said he's a musician and an activist. And I believe he's friends with KKK members. And that is absolutely right. That is absolutely right. Officer Yagadar says, Salaki, is that the brother that who goes out to talk with the clan? That is exactly who that is. That is exactly who that is. Sister I said, oh, was he the musician that's cool with the clan? He said, exactly. I'm trying to get my, there we go. I want to make sure I got my technology up. I know sometimes I be struggling with this technology sometimes. But I think I got my ducks in a row. Y'all give me 1 second. Because if you are what, so, and the water again to Officer Yagadar for that fire intro, right? Because he makes the best intros in Israel, I swear. But if you all were towards the end of that intro, right? If anybody has been actually listening, because that's Commanding General Yohana's voice, that almost looks like it's me. It's absolutely not me speaking at the end of that. At the end of that intro, that is Commanding General Yohana. It's another brother reading the scriptures, and then Commanding General Yohana is breaking it down. And if anybody heard and has actually listened to what Commander General Yohana was saying, he was talking about how we give our love away. We give our love away repeatedly. And that is a function of our captivity. It's a function of not knowing who we are, what our worth is. But it's absolutely the truth, and it's absolutely the reality of our existence under this oppressor. Did anybody catch that as Commander General Yohana was saying it in that intro? Because it's so powerful. We often reference Zephaniah 2:1, where the scriptures tell us to gather ourselves together, O nation not desired. And it's so important that we do that, because again, by not doing so, we give our love away. We give our love away. And I'm trying to pull this information up on this brother who, in his mind, he is an activist. In his mind, he is attempting to fix the world by befriending the one of the largest historical physical abuses and oppressors of our people. This organization, the KKK. He, in his mind, he is on a mission to fix the world by befriending these in a perfect example of what Commander General Yohana was talking about in that in what he was saying in that intro. Because instead of going to your own people and trying to build up your own people, he has this in his mind where it's his mission to go win the love of the clan. That's essentially what he's doing. He's going out on this mission to win over their hearts. To win over their hearts. And it goes all the way back. I don't know if anybody has ever looked this brother up, but I saw something. Most High in Christ. A lot of y'all are more familiar with him. Absolutely. Sister Kenyasa say, oh, that idiot. Yes, I heard about him. Absolutely. And y'all have been listening to the intros. Absolutely, yes. Commander General Yohana was breaking this down, and this brother is like the epitome of that. He is the epitome of wanting to give this love away and wanting to win the love of the oppressor, right? And when I looked up the history on the brother, it actually, I don't want to say it makes sense, because it doesn't, but it's a function of us, in captivity and being destroyed, and not being gathered together as the scriptures say we should be, and not having been that way from the onset. If we were gathered together, and we say it often, if we were a nation like we should be, we have an identity, we have our culture, we have our practices and things that we do. We wouldn't be marrying other nations, and we wouldn't allow them to marry into our families. We would be separate. As the scripture said, we would be holy, which is what separate means. We would be following the law, statutes, and commandments as we should, and we would not have a need or a desire to gain the love of another nation. The reason why we're like that now is because we don't have our identity. We don't know who we are. We're not following the law, so we don't have the Most High's protection. And all we have, and so many of our brothers and sisters' mind, all we can do is beg for the love of this oppressor. And if we can just get enough of that, then maybe things will be okay. We were talking about it last week. It's not about economics. It's about the law. It's the same thing with this love of wanting this love of this oppressor. It's not about that. It's about following the law and being together as a nation. So I wanted to pull this up to get, if anybody wasn't familiar with it, obviously, again, we have the most studious students in Israel, most high in Christ. So I'm not really necessarily sharing anything new as far as who this person is, but some of his background might give y'all some perspective on how he came to be the person that he is. All right, just real quick. All right, and again, y'all know what it is. I'm probably not gonna be able to see it. Let me see. I can make it a little large. I might. Okay, so this brother was born in 1958, long enough that you would think he has, some memory and what our people have gone through, so a good, strong, solid foundation to pull on. And while he does, you'll understand why it's a little twisted. All right. It says, as a child of U.S. foreign service workers, I began traveling. This is all in first person, right? I began traveling around the world, starting from the age of 3 in 1961. My first introduction to school was overseas, and many classes were filled with kids from all over the world: Nigeria, Japan, Russia, Poland, France, Germany, Yugoslavia, you name it. That became what I expected out of school. So right now, we already starting where he's associating with all these other nations from the time he was 3 years old. All right, early on. Now, by comparison, you take somebody like Samuel Jackson. I don't know if you all are familiar with him. Samuel Jackson said he didn't have a teacher that was of another nation, I think, until he was in college. I think it took that long because of the community that he came up in. It was only our people. All right. So that very, very drastically different. Not that Samuel Jackson is this, epitome of black excellence or anything like that, but it's just a different, the different experience is going to create a different individual, which is why it's so important that our experience and that we pour our experience and our knowledge, especially, once we're in the truth, into our children. All right. Let's keep going. It says, but every time I would return home, meaning to the U.S., my own country, I was either in newly integrated schools or still segregated ones. So he does have an understanding, right? Now this, I'm sure y'all can see it. If anybody cannot, y'all let me know. This is a school picture. Ah, shucks, I'm doing too much. This is a school picture of this brother. And good night. Good night. This is the opposite of gathering yourselves together. This is the opposite of gathering yourselves together. This is you are in another nation and you are attempting to become part of that world. This picture reminds me of obviously Yagadah. He did an awesome class where he talked about Neil deGrasse Tyson. In my mind, this is what Neil deGrasse Tyson wanted when he was growing up. This is what this in my mind. Absolutely right. Obviously Yagadah. Absolutely right. Obviously Yagadah said this is torture. That's absolute torture. That is absolute torture. It gives you no self-worth. It gives you zero self-worth because you're there in their world. You are in their world trying to fit in, hoping that you do. Now, we often go over Deuteronomy 32, is it 32-7? Y'all get me straight. I think it's 32-7. Uh, remember the days of old? Salaki, give me 1 second. Almost happened. I'm kind of everywhere tonight. Y'all bear with me. 'Cause to be honest, I saw this earlier, and I got a bit perturbed. I'm being honest. I got a little irritated that somebody would be out here doing the things that he does. Again, remember the days of old. This is again Deuteronomy 30:27. Consider the years of many generations. This is something that he clearly was not doing, right? He's not. He hasn't been doing it, and here's the reason. Well, no, I'm not gonna get into the reason why yet. I'm gonna get into the reason why in a second. But this is what he grew up with, right? And as Officer Yagadar said, it was torture. Absolutely. Sister Zamanas is shaking my head. Absolutely horrible. Correct, Sister Ayat, the water Deuteronomy 32:7. Absolutely. All right. So let's keep going. Brother said in 1968, when I was in fourth grade, I was in a newly integrated school in Massachusetts where I was one of 2 black children. So this again gives us some perspective because I think oftentimes our people, as time goes on, we have this idea that the only type of discrimination that we had to deal with was in the South, and that up north there was fine. Especially if you're in the South, you have this idea that up north is fine. No, the same kind of stuff that not this exact same, but it was still they didn't like this up there either. All right, they didn't want us in their schools either. So let's keep going so we can get some perspective on this. This is in Massachusetts. Remember that. So he says he was only one of 2 black children. He said we had a Scouts parade for the Patriots Day. We had a Scouts parade for Patriots Day one day, and I was the only black participant. The sidewalks were lined with white people waving and cheering and having a good time. This sounds like utopia. It sounds like heaven so far, right? Says until we got to a certain point in the route where I was suddenly being pelted with bottles and soda pop cans and rocks. They were throwing everything at this brother. They were throwing everything at this brother. He goes on. He said, I didn't understand what was going on. I thought these people just didn't like the Scouts. They just don't like Boy Scouts. It wasn't until my Scout leaders came running over and covered me with their own bodies that I realized no other Scouts were getting hit. They isolated this child and threw bottles and rocks and soda pop cans in a parade for Boy Scouts. Now, here's where I'm going to go back to Deuteronomy 32:7. Says that night, my mother and father sat me down, and for the first time in my life, at the age of 10, they explained to me what racism was. Now, let's stop right there. Who can tell me what the problem is so far? Young man John Wren is in the building. Shalom. How about you? Show like a thought, brother? I'm gonna get to your comment in 1 second, Sister I don't want you to get ahead of me, but I see what you're saying. I know everybody's gonna see it. I just gotta put it in my. I gotta bring it out right. I gotta bring it out right. Slap. All right, Officer Yagadar is in the building. Say you had terrible parents. Why you say that, sir? Why you say that, Officer Yagadar? Give me a little bit more. Give Sister I a hand. Ignorance due to his parents not remembering the days of old and not teaching it to their children. And let me be clear, they probably remembered. I mean, let's keep it a buck. He remembers. So they were probably well aware of it, but they do the same thing, or they did the same thing that many of our parents these days do. So Salakia, Officer Yagadar said, Mama had the boy unprepared. I'm actually going to say la'ah. I'm going to say la'ah. Not that she wasn't partly at fault, right? I'm going to say la'ah. I'm going to tell you why. Salaki, when you pull that up, go back to that scripture, Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Go back to that scripture. All right, let's see. Right. I got you. I understand what you're saying. Sister I said the ignorance is to the teaching ability. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. All right. Again, we're going to pull it up one more time. Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Right. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Obviously, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to remember what our forefathers went through, our foremothers went through, understanding what happened in the past generation so we can have some perspective on what to do and what not to do so we can learn from their experiences, right? But it says, ask thy father and he will show thee, thy elders and they will tell thee. So the only thing I'm going to take a little exception to with Officer Yagada's point is mama had the boy unprepared. I'm going to say daddy had the boy unprepared. That was a father's responsibility. That father, and as fathers, again, this is why the scriptures, say what they say. Fathers are important, are extremely important, and this is something that this young man at 10 years old, going to basically an all-white school, should not have had to experience with no perspective. That man sent his son out into the world knowing he was going to be one of two black children in an entire school. And gave him no understanding of what he might be facing. That's the torture. That's what not knowing the truth and not understanding and not knowing the truth and not understanding what we're supposed to be doing by our children. And then here's the bigger point. Why is that okay? Why was that okay in his mind? Sister I said facts. Damn right. Who can give me some perspective on why that was probably okay in his mind to do? Sister Nazama Nasa one concert. Damn right. Right. That's part of it. Salaki. Went to 99% school, but I had a granddaddy who absolutely hated that. And now give Officer Yagada's granddaddy a hand because he prepared you for the enemy that you were going to have to deal with. That's what we should be doing with our children. That's what we're responsible for, particularly as men. We are responsible for preparing our children and giving them an understanding of who we are and what the old days entailed and what our generations of people had to go through. That's what we should be doing. Now, Sister Aya says they attempted to shield him from reality. Now, how many times? That's not something that just goes on, that just went on then. I don't know if y'all hear it. I hear people say it all the time about you want to not, show them the bad side of who people are and allow them to make their own choices and learn life for themselves. That is terrible. That is terrible. You are sending your child out into the world that is full of wicked wolves as a lamb with no preparation, with no understanding, with no real perspective on the fact that they need to be protecting themselves. This is what that idea of shielding our children do. It makes them unprepared. And we've talked about it multiple times in multiple classes, right? Esau doesn't shield his children from anything. Esau trains his children for war. And we attempt to shield our children from reality. And Sister Nazamana has the follow-up. They love that picture in the Christian church. And we're going to see as we go back to this brother, he's all about love. Love can fix everything. Love is wonderful. This is a poor example of parenting. That's right. Gave a hand, damn right. Only for a couple years though, it still was traumatic, depression, and shell shock. Oh, meaning when you went to the 99%. I'm sure. There's nothing comfortable about that, especially as a child. I mean, you're putting a child in an environment. I mean, we all know, even whether you're around Esau or you're around Israelites, children are cruel. Children mean as hell all the time. But you're going to put your child in a scenario where they're completely the outsider. Even if they make a few friends, guess what? They're still the outsider. And you waited till he was 10 years old after he was assaulted by the crowd at a parade to then explain what racism is? Now this is in 1968. They waited to say anything. Sister Nizam Nasser Khan, my dad got my brother for inviting a white boy, for inviting a person in the house. He flat out told him, get that white boy damn right. Damn right, Most High in Christ. And this is teaching. These are teachable moments. That's what that is. And give her father a hand. This is right, said Kwame Rashala. Damn right. But again, this is the worst example of parenting. And this is why our people need the truth, because this happens today. Who's familiar with anybody who's might say something like that? I don't want to give that to my children. I want them to be able to, learn life and see it on their own and experience their own and so on and so forth. So you want to shield the atrocities from your child. And let's be real. All you have to do is teach your children history. That's it. Teach them the appropriate history of their people. Give them the understanding of many generations. That's it. That's just information. That's all you have to do. You don't have to necessarily put a big spin on it. Guess what? These are all the things that happen. These are all the things that happen to our people from their people. It don't take much. It takes more effort to shield your child. It takes more effort. It took more effort in the 60s with everything going on in the world. You know how much effort it had to take to make sure that this young man did not hear the word racism until 10 years old in the 60s? It's a horrible job as a parent. A horrible job as a parent, and we continue to do the same thing. Daryl was like, Sister Rice said, Daryl was like Tarzan living amongst the apes, as if he was too, until the jungle reality showed him that he was out of place. Exactly. You're gonna go out with these savages, but again, this ain't Daryl's fault. Daryl's parents put him in this community with these savages and told him nothing. Didn't warn him at all until the savages attacked him. And then they said, yeah, it's rough out here. You knew? And you didn't say nothing? I mean, that's that's. I mean, we're in the realm of neglect, as far as I'm concerned. We're in the neighborhood of neglect. All right, but let's go back. Siagadar said it's as simple as telling a child, yes, that dog like you, and wave at will bite you. Oh, I got you. That dog that like you will wave at and bite you if you stick your hand in there with him. That dog bites people. Right. Don't play with that dog. Keep your eyes on that dog. That's it. That's it. That's it. You don't have to make them think, well, every dog on the planet is terrible. You don't have to say that. But guess what? Dogs bite. Dogs bite. And these dogs are prone to bite. They're likely going to bite you. We got a whole history of them biting a lot of people. You want to go over there and love on the dog? I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea because they like to bite. Does it mean every dog you come across is going to bite you? No. Does every dog you come across have teeth? Yes. Very simple. It doesn't have to be this grand thing. It's just preparing your child for reality. And again, it's bordering on neglect. I think if anybody raised a child not to talk to strangers, we tell children that all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, the Christian church tells you also to go door to door and ask for candy from strangers, and go sit on Santa Claus lap. But but if there was any parent that said, no, I don't tell my kids not to talk to strangers because I think that's mean. I think most people would look at them like they got three heads. Like, what are you talking about? Does that mean every stranger you come across is going to try to kidnap you? No. But there is a danger with strangers. It's just the reality of the situation. To send your child out into the world unprepared, I mean, because again, we would say if a parent didn't, tell them not to talk to strangers, tell the child not to talk to strangers, that's borderlining on neglect. The same thing. This is the same thing. Sister Na is in the building. Shalom, Yahweh Shemala Thabah Shem Yahweh Shai. Let's see. That must will bite you all the time. Right, right. Oh, Salaki, that's what I thought. Yeah, that must will bite you all the time. Right. There's certain ones that are going to bite you. It's going to happen. But all of them got teeth. All of them got teeth. While you may not be able to predict everyone that's going to bite, all of them have teeth. And they are prone to bite. Does that mean all of them? No. But they're prone to bite. And that's what happened. That young man went out there, 10 years old, on parade, and got bit by a whole bunch of them. So let's go back. And then after he got bit, his parents said, yeah, dangerous out here. So, start back at the beginning of that paragraph. It says, that night, my mother and father sat me down, and for the first time in my life, at the age of 10, they explained to me what racism was. You may find this a little hard to believe, especially in this day and age, but I had never heard the word racism because it had not existed in my world, growing up surrounded by people from all over the world. He was completely thrown off. How poor, how terrible a job did his parents do? So much so. Oh, Salaki. Look at this real quick. This is him. This is this person. Hard for me to say, brother, but he is. Or at least I haven't found anything to say he's not, and I was searching Salaki. That's him. He just is happy. He is the happiest slave in the world right now. You cannot tell him he is not in heaven. Sister Nazama said, good night. I don't know the level of hatred you have to have for yourself to befriend an organization that has terrorized your people. I don't understand. I don't know where it comes from. I absolutely do not. And not only did his parents shield him from the reality, even having him grow up around all these other nations that also perpetuated them being Christian. I did see, I think it was on Wikipedia, he's a self proclaimed Christian. All right. All of that leads to this hatred and it leads to this confusion. He says, that's when I realized that racism is a learned behavior. Who else has heard that before? Especially when you're young. Who else has heard that? Racism is a learned behavior. Kind of like, who has ever heard that before? Let's see. Yeah, we all have heard that. We all have heard that. Sister Deanna said con. Sister Raya said con. Yeah. Sister Nazam said con. Right? Sister Anna said con. Sister Kenyessa said con. Right. Right. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go back. Come on. Yeah, we've all heard that nonsense before. Salaki. Sister I said he looks stupid. And he does. Say he looked like the dude in the Dave Chappelle sketch. What was that cast? Was it Clayton Bixby? I think his name was Clayton Bixby. Who's familiar with Clayton Bixby? If nobody has seen that skit, I mean, for entertainment purposes, it's hilarious. But this dude is like the real version of that. It's horrible. Um, Uncle Ruckus is another version. But she is absolutely right. That is absolutely what he looks like. Obviously, Yagadar said, Khan, he's heard that too. That's a learned behavior and it's a lie. It's absolutely a lie. It's absolutely a lie. Stockholm syndrome is a learned behavior. And that is true. That is true. That's what you do to adjust. That's what you Stockholm syndrome is what you is something that comes from oppression, but then you learn it over time when you see those that came before you doing it. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Who right? It's like because Ryan said right. The blind, yeah, he was the blind brother that was the KKK member. He didn't realize somebody had to tell him he was black. It was funny for entertainment purposes. Sad though, but right. See, y'all can, he said they smell like cocoa butter and frustration. Cocoa butter and frustration. Damn right. Say Clayton Bigsby was almost as bad as Uncle Ruckus. Right, Clayton Bigsby got a pass because he was blind. He didn't know he was black. I don't want to give it. If anybody ain't seen it, it's too late. I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna spoil it. Look it up though; it's worth it. But this cat, the backstory with Clayton Bigsby is he was blind. And he went to a blind school. I think he went to a blind school. But he was blind, so they figured it'd just be easy to tell everybody he was white and tell him he was white. So he believed he was white until like he became, I think, the Grand Wizard or something like that. Then he found out he wasn't. But yeah, hilarious. But cocoa butter and frustration is absolutely right. Absolutely right. But going back to the whole learned, it's a learned behavior. And obviously, Yagadar, you said that's a lie, and it is. The question is, if it's a learned behavior, Does anybody talk about who started it? Does anybody have any perspective on who is it? Is it one person that said, I'm gonna mess everything up, and there's somebody that has so much power, right, over the oppressors, everybody in Europe, that they taught them all this hatred? Is that the idea? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's what people have to believe because you want to believe Christianity. Because you want to believe Christianity, you want to believe that it's a learned behavior. Ezekiel 35:5 is the proof. You giving all the story away, sister. That's like right. Right, divorce his wife for being a ninja lover. Anyways, like anybody who hasn't seen that skit, look it up. It's funny. It's funny. I said we treat the symptoms of racism and never go to the source. And we barely treat them. We don't treat them. We don't treat the symptoms of racism. We don't. We don't even, as blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we don't even have power to treat any symptom of racism. What we do, to your point, is beg for the oppressor to treat the symptoms of racism. We beg for the oppressor to stop. We beg for the oppressor to come to this, altruistic understanding that what they're doing is also wrong. We just hope and pray and the God of Christianity is going to love everybody and he's going to make it all better eventually. And it's just going to be, all I got to do, I got to love everybody through all of this absolute hell and torture that they put me and my people through. If y'all remember, I did a class not too long ago. Christianity perpetuates, it makes you have Stockholm Syndrome. And it makes you go to the Klan meetings and try to win over the hearts of this nation and this organization that destroyed your people. Y'all said, damn right. Most High Christ. Ezekiel 35:5. This is how we know this is not a learned behavior. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. That's what this is. This isn't a learned behavior. This is a perpetual hatred that this oppressor has for so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's not a learned behavior. It's who they are. Then again, does that mean every single person is going to participate in the physical abuse? No, not necessarily. But we're going to get, what time is it? We're going to get into it because if y'all remember, we were going over historical events where our communities were destroyed. We're going to get back into that in a second. Because it doesn't take every single one of them. But they have no problem bringing up numbers to do it. And they have and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and in the time of their calamity. We have been in that calamity since we've been in this country. We have been destroyed. They had us in physical chains under government sanctioned chattel slavery for 300, 400, 500 years, depending on which date you want to use. And then after that, you had government sanctioned oppression for another 100 years. We have been in calamity since we've been here. And even now, after that, what did they do? They destroyed our families purposefully, broke up the families, took the man out of the home, flooded our communities with drugs. Then they had a war on drugs where we were the primary ones being locked up. until the opioid crisis came and it started getting in their communities, and now everybody needs help. They shed our blood with the force of the sword. And that still happens. Now, the sword is not a physical sword. A sword is a firearm. A sword is a knee on your neck. A sword can be a knee at this point. And they use every option that they can. But this is how we know this is not a learned behavior. Sister I said that's deep. And this is what our people need to know. Because if our people understand the level of oppression we're under, we will not get it in our heads that we need to go to the damn Klan rally to try to win over some hearts. So let's go back. Let's go back and see what else Daryl was doing after he came to this revelation. Now he's 10 years old and came to revelation. Let's see what he did with this information. So he fast forward to 1983. He says, I was playing that. This is his brother. He's a jazz player as well. All right. So he was playing at the Silver Dollar Lounge, which has a reputation for being an all-white lounge in Frederick, Maryland. I had just finished playing the first song when someone put an arm around my shoulder, and there was a white guy with a big smile on his face. And he said, "Quote, I sure like you all's music," and said I was a friend he'd seen play like Jerry Lee Lewis. Now, who's familiar with Jerry Lee Lewis, and who knows why that's the dumbest statement you can make? Kind of like who's familiar with Jerry Lee Lewis, and who knows why, if you are, why that is one of the dumbest statements that he could have made. Let's see. Officer Yagdar is on point. Officer Yagdar is absolutely on point. That child, I'm not even sure we can say no more on YouTube. Salaki, the child assaulter, I don't know, stole our music, and he's absolutely right. Let's see. Sister I said, oh, Salaki. The white pianist known as the unalive. I have never heard him referred to as that. I might have to look that up. You might have some. I'm not really surprised. But anybody who's ever heard, what was the name of that song? There you go, Tawada, Yagada, Child Predator. I be so confused by what we can say. It's lucky. I don't mess around and get checked, get some flag. Uh, Mozart Craig. What was the name? What was the name of some of the name of them songs? I don't even care. It don't matter. But here's the deal. Let's keep going. Y'all are absolutely right. He was a popular rock and roll cat at the time who played the piano. All right. So we're gonna keep going. Now, right, and was she his cousin too? Was she his cousin too? I think she might have been his cousin as well. And she was 13 years old. But the brother Daryl said that's what it was. Great balls of fire. The water. Anybody who's heard goodness gracious, great balls of fire, that's who this cat is. So going back to Daryl. Daryl said he was not offended by the statement when he said he ain't never seen nobody play like that and sure like y'all's music. He said he was not offended by the statement, but I was surprised that he didn't know the black origin of Jerry Lee Lewis's piano style. So I proceeded to tell him that Jerry Lee Lewis and myself, we learned from the same place, black blues and boogie woogie piano players. Now I don't know. I wasn't alive back. I mean, I was alive back then, but I wasn't. I wasn't familiar with the terminology that was used. Boogie woogie piano players don't even sound like some my brother would say to me, Salaki. But I mean, that's how he described it. And for the record, I read more than one article. That's exactly how he describes it. Boogie woogie piano players. That mess sounds crazy. Okay, it was his cousin. Most High Inquiry. That's what I thought. All right. Since Riley said Khan. And Sister Not also said Khan was his cousin. Exactly. All right. But this so he tells him that Jerry Lee Lewis learned from black blues piano players, basically. So let's keep going. He says he tried to debate me. But I said, look, man, Jerry Lee Lewis was a very good friend of mine. He told me himself. Now, here's where it also gets interesting. He says, the man was fascinated and offered to buy me a drink. He said it was his first time sitting with the black guy. And I asked why. His friend next to him elbowed him and said, and told him to tell me why. Man looked at me and said, I'm a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Up front with him. Right in his face. Right? Said, dude, I started laughing. I thought it was a joke. I thought he was joking. He pulled out his wallet and handed me his KKK membership card. I stopped laughing and it wasn't funny anymore. That was his first reaction. He should have went with that one. Here's another picture. Let me enlarge this just to make sure everybody can see this. He's just as proud as he can be. He is winning over the hearts of people who unalived his ancestors. And he's so proud of himself that he stands there with a burning cross next to this oppressor in his full uniform. This is how destroyed we are as a people. Take that back up. Okay, it says we talked, and the man gave me his phone number and told me to call him whenever I returned to the Silver Dollar Lounge because he wanted his friends to see the black guy who plays like Jerry Lee Lewis. Now, who's calling this cat? Y'all let me know. Y'all playing piano. He wants you to call him every time you come to town, so he can come. He can bring more people to come see you. Who's calling? Who's using that phone number? Right. Obviously, y'all said that's a special kind of Steven from Django. Exactly. That's right. I said vile. Who's using that phone number? He didn't gave you his phone number. He told you what he into. Who's using that phone number? Then it sat down. He done had a drink. He done told you he's a member. Showed you the proof. But when you come back, call me so I can bring some of my friends. This is the problem with the entertainment industry. Because it allows you to sell your soul, to sell your integrity at best. At best. When I read this, the first thing I thought was, so you got a spectacle you want people to come see? This isn't about, this brother's a musician. He didn't say, I want to bring people because you're such a good player, because I enjoy your music so much. No, I want them to come see the black guy who plays like the white guy. Sure, I like the white guy's music, but you're black. I need them to see that. They're not coming because you're just this wonderful musician. And he's telling you up front. I want them to come see you because you're black and you can play like this. Sister Nizamana is correct. Destroyed. Because let's see what the brother did. I'm sure we can all guess. Because the rest of the year, I would call him. Oh, Salaki, I got to pull it back up. Right. He says the rest of the year I would call him, and he would come with his with clansmen and clanswomen. They danced to our music. Some of the clan people were curious about me and would want to talk. Some others would get up and move to the other side of the room. But what I don't understand is how you use that number. Why are you calling this? I don't get it. I'm not calling you. I'm not having another beer with you. I'm not doing any of that. I'm actually at this point. I'm very disgusted that you're even carrying on a conversation with me. Sister I said, "Wise man told me not to trust a room full of snakes, even if some of them are not venomous, because you can't trust them all." Absolutely. And if anybody's has ever seen that clip from Muhammad Ali where he talked, he gives that analogy as well, and it's put very well. Don't get me wrong. Muhammad Ali was a Muslim, and we don't get down with that either, because that's also another culture. That's another nation's religion. But his analogy was on point. So since I'm not correct, he was just he's a jester. And he told him he's going to be a jester. He told him he was going to be a jester. And this is how we know that these other nations do not respect us at all. He told him in his face, he was a clansman. He told him in his face that he wanted to just bring other people to see him play like his white counterpart. He told him all of that. That is offensive as hell. I don't care whether you I mean you don't have to understand the so-called plight of blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans to understand that that's insulting, that that's disrespectful, that you don't have any respect for this man, which is why you're talking the way that you are. You don't have any respect for him. Why don't these other nations respect us? Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Deuteronomy 4 and 5. These nations do not respect us because we don't know who we are. We are trying to get the love of every other nation. We don't follow the culture that's ours. We go after everything else. And because of that, these oppressors don't respect us. We don't have an identity. Even though they may, we go out on the street, we teach, and we get pushback. Sure. We have back and forth. Sure. Everybody doesn't just welcome and totally agree with what we say. Of course not. But at the end of the day, they're going to respect it because we teach how to be free mentally. That's the only thing these other nations respect, which is why, because we have this slave mentality, that's why we don't get the respect. Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and commandments, even as the Most High my power commanded me." We were taught these laws, statutes, and commandments by Moses. It says that ye should do that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Now we don't possess this land, but we are supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments anywhere we go, everywhere we go. That's what the Most High commanded us to do, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Why? Let's go to verse 6. "Keep therefore and do them." We need to be very, very purposeful about the law, statutes, and commandments. This is not a passive thing. We need to be active with it, like with going to the Passover, which is why it's so important to actually be there. It's not something that we should, I'll make it if I can, if it's convenient. No, we're not in our homeland, but we are supposed to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments among everything else. Not even pork, not even shrimp, not even crab, not even lobster, not celebrating these holidays. All of that. Why? For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. If we have our own culture like everyone else, then we would be respected. Of course, they may not like it. So, not only will we be respected because that's the wisdom in the sight of the other nations, then the Most High is going to be on our side providing the protection as well. But because we don't have that, this man told him flat out, yeah, I just want to see a black guy who played like Jerry Lee Lewis. You know, my clan members. Because which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That's what they should be saying about us. Surely this is a wise and understanding people. Look at their practices. Look at their culture. Look at their laws. But instead, I don't even respect you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring some of my cohorts who have probably unalived countless of your ancestors, and we're gonna come and see you and entertain us. So Yagabai says, LOL, like Karens that ask our sisters, can I touch your hair? Right. I just love the texture. That's the exact same kind of thing. That is the exact same kind of thing. It's such a level of disrespect. But that's because we're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. We don't have our culture the way we're supposed to. Sister Zamanat says, Khan, sir, it's attainable. We have a whole year. We have a whole year every year to put at least 25. Absolutely true. 25 hours a week. That's the hotel and Passover fee. Get that sister a hand. Give her a hand. That is absolutely right. Especially now if you're new to the school, obviously that's a little different. We give you a little pass. But once a Passover comes, it's coming every year. It's coming every year. And guess what? When we were in the world, guess what else was coming every year? Christmas, birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that was coming every year. And guess what we was doing? Finding money for it. So there's actually, she makes a great point. We should be able to be doing any of these things. All of this is doable. It's a function of what's important to us, what we decide we're going to actually be rooted, that we're going to actually be rooted and locked into this truth. And again, this is not for us. This is for the future generations of our people. It's for our people. When we get regenerated and come back, hopefully it'll be a little bit better. Hopefully it'll be a lot better. Hopefully we'll come back into our own actual culture and we'll be good to go. But if we don't start it now, how are we going to get there then? If we don't have any pride in who we are now, how are we going to get there then? If all we're doing is trying to gain the love of these oppressors, how are we going to get there? It doesn't happen without following the law, statutes, and commandments. And continue to unalive countless of his nations while he breaks bread with them, which is a whole nother thing. I hadn't even gotten there yet. This brother went on this, I don't know how much of these stories, these other, this continuation we're going to get to. We're going to get to some. I hadn't gotten there yet. This brother is on this mission now to win over the hearts of the clan. That's what he's trying to do. And one of the first things I thought when I read it was, well, how many brothers and sisters are still being unalived by this organization? How many brothers and sisters are still being tortured and terrorized and mistreated and whatever other description you want to put on it, while you're trying to save them you're trying not even save them, you're trying to just win them, trying to win them over one by one. But what is it doing to the rest of our people? Why don't you do something more effective than that? Why don't you come in to the ISUPK and actually learn how to help your people? Learn how to be a instrument that the Most High can use for the liberation of your people. That's not what you're doing. You're begging for love from an oppressor. All right, let's get back. Um, this brother, and again, this what he says here is true, but it's so Christian. It's like he says, I've learned that every human being wants to be loved, respected, heard, treated fairly and truthfully, and wants the same things for their family. Sure. I mean, it's coming from a Christian perspective, clearly. But sure. Let's say I agree with that. Let's say we all agree with that. Okay, fine. Now what? Then he says if we can learn to apply those 5 core values, we can navigate even adversarial situations much more smoothly and positively. So all we got to do, no, I'm not going to say that yet. Let me ask y'all a question. Given what he said, what's missing? I'm going to read this again. I've learned that every human being wants to be loved, respected, heard, treated fairly and truthfully, and wants the same things for their family. If we can learn to apply those 5 core values, we can navigate even adversarial situations much more smoothly and positively. If we can learn to do that. Who can tell me what's missing? There's something missing, depending on how you interpret that we. I interpret that we as so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's how I interpret that. That's how I interpret that. But even if you don't, even if you apply that to everybody, right? What's missing with your own nation? Sure, that is missing. That is missing. He didn't specify that. Now, his perspective, this is his nation. Everybody in this country is his nation. Who else want to give it a shot as far as what's missing from that statement? There's something missing. It sounds good. It sounds wonderful. It sounds like utopia. If we can just love everybody and be truthful and fair. Let's see. 13. All right, Sister Rice said, following law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Okay. Yeah, that's missing as well. That's missing as well. Right. Okay. Good. Let's see. All right. I think y'all getting closer. Sister Kenya said, I want to know who we is. That's a great point. Now, and here's the deal. That's why I gave two versions. I think when I read it, I'm thinking he's talking about so-called Black Latinos and Native American Israel, us. But he could be talking about everybody. If we could just do this, then it'd be great. And my perspective on what's missing is going to apply both ways. Y'all can say we ain't start this ish. What's missing is what the hell the aggressors are willing to do. Give him a hand. That's exactly where I was going. Because here's the deal. We can do all of these things. Let me pull that back up. We can do all all of these things. Matter of fact, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans do it by and large. He says he's learned that every human being wants to be loved, respected, heard, treated fairly, and truthfully. That's what blacks, Latinos, and Native America has done in this country since its inception. We have treated them fairly. We've loved them, respect them. We've heard their gripes, treated them fairly, treated them truthfully. When they got over here, the Native Americans helped them out, helped them learn how to navigate the terrain and build. And this is how you live over here. We've done all of that. We've done it all. But they have not. And that's the problem with this mentality. That's the problem with this idea. This is what Christianity has done to our people. It's absolutely destroyed us because we think if we just love and treat people fairly, then they're going to do the same. No. They have shown us over and over and over again that that is not the case. But this is the mentality. This is what is absolutely missing. The fact that they're not going to do it. Why do I say that? Because they're of a different so-called ethnic persuasion and racial. No, because they've shown it to us. They've shown it to us repeatedly over centuries. That's the piece that's missing. And this is why I say whether it's just the we, meaning blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, or even if it's everybody, even if I wanted to go to the idea that all we have to do for each other is treat each other fairly, that works until you decide you're not going to do so. And then everything breaks down. And who suffers? Me. In that situation, I'm going to be the one who suffers. So let's go to Ecclesiasticus 13 and 17. Absolutely. Give Akhlaq Ra'aya a hand. Perpetual hate. And that's why there's no reason to expect anything else. Because they have a perpetual hate for us. Sure, it would be wonderful if they weren't so wicked and bloodthirsty. But we've seen that to be the case. Oh, come on. Okay, Ecclesiasticus 13 and 17, that is in the Apocrypha. Why is this not working the way I want it to? It's rocky. It's not in their nature. They are the beasts of the listen. They are the most subtle beasts of the field. They absolutely are, as the scriptures say. And our problem is, well, you know what? It's Ecclesiasticus 13 and 17. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. What fellowship has the wolf with the lamb? There's no wolves trying to get to know lambs and we can be cool. Nah, because eventually you're gonna be dinner. Even if I'm a wolf and I'm acting like I'm cool with you, I mean, you're on the menu. You're on the menu. And in this case, the lamb is trying to befriend the wolf. Hey, look, man, let me come see me play, and you call all your friends, call the whole pack. I want to sit down and get to know y'all and have drinks and let you know that we're cool. You don't have to keep devouring us. Let me ask some questions as to why you would even want to do so. Let me learn. Let me understand where you're coming from, Mr. Wolf. None of this makes sense. And when you go back talking about all of the love and respect and honor and truth and all this other stuff, sure, if everyone was going to do that, that's utopia. That's not reality. That's some fantasy world that no one lives in. Except blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans who are in the Christian church. We're the only ones who think this way. But all we got to do is love these people, and it's going to be wonderful. All we got to do is treat them fairly, and they'll treat us fairly. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? There is no fellowship. There's only predator and prey. Sister Rod said proper house ninja. Absolutely. Convinced, convinced, convinced that master is on his side, and I just got to show him. I just got to let him see. I got to understand him more. So then I can figure out where he has us confused. And I can then, I can work to get over that. Sister Nizam, when I said Salaki, I people believe they can save everyone in their minds. That's exactly what they believe. That's exactly what we believe. And here's where it comes from. Here's where it comes from. Sister I said that's what the Christian church teaches. That's absolutely right. So why? Let me see. Is that what I want to ask this? Sister I is correct. That is exactly where it comes from. Why is it so strong with our people, as Sister Nizamana said? Why is it that our people believe that we can save everyone? Why is that? Why is Christianity such a powerful drug for us as a whole? Why is it so? It's a powerful drug. Matter of fact, there you go. Sister Nizamana said, "God, I'm talking to Sister I. It's the worst drug ever. Why is it so powerful?" There's more than one reason, but I'm looking for one specifically. Y'all just give me some idea. Why is Christianity such a powerful thing on our people? All right, that's part of it. Sister I said because it came from white is right, correct. Because when you got a picture of Caesar Borgia hanging in your house, and your Christian pastor tells you that that's God, it's hard. It's hard not to take that. All right. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh. I believe that's Cap. Let me see. John 3:16. That is also part of it. That is also part of it because Christianity teaches that God loves everybody. That is part of it as well. All right. And the oppressor has taught this propaganda for centuries. That's true. It's ingrained. It's ingrained. All right. I'm gonna help y'all out. Sister King Yesha says because that's all we know, and we don't know our own belief because it was stolen from us. That is also true. That is also true. But when we compare Christianity to a drug, right? What's the high? Not the high? That's not the word I want to use. Where does the addiction come? Where does the addiction come? There's a perspective. I'm just gonna give it to y'all. This is the deal. Christianity tells our people that no matter what happens, no matter how much we are destroyed, no matter how much we are mistreated, no matter how much we are unalive, no matter how much we are just not even second class citizens, we're 15th class or something like that. We're not humans. We can be. Everyone can treat us every way they want, and all we got to do is love, right? And it's gonna be okay. The only, no, not the only. The one who's going to hang on to that the tightest is the nation who suffers the most. Once you get that in your belief system, once you actually believe that that's the truth, the more you're destroyed, the more you have to hang on to it because there's nothing else. The more you are absolutely just ground into powder, you have to believe that you have to love through this because there's nothing else. This is why we have to wake our people up to get them to understand that there is something else. There is something else out here. The truth is out here that you, as a Black, Latino, and Native American person, are the chosen children of the Most High. You don't have to love this oppressor. You have to love your own people. That's what we're called to do. But this is the truth that our people don't understand. And that's why it's such a tight drug that they hold on to. So much so, even when they hear it, so many of our people can't believe it. Because that's how destroyed we are. That is absolutely how destroyed we are. Most of the Christ, the water, y'all Christ. The water sister Raya, Leah's cat said, right, Most High in Christ. Sister Nizam Most High in Christ. Damn right, ISUPK is a home of the truth. And this is why it's so important to get this truth out here. So we can get our people off of this drug. All right, so let's see. I think that might be it on him. We are not going to get into the rest of these stories, but we're going to get into as much as we can. All right. Let me see. Okay. All right, so we're going to stop talking about old Uncle Ruckus over here. That boy, that brother's absolutely destroyed. All right, let me see. Where did we leave off last? Oh, y'all a couple. We're gonna have to get to next week. That's all right. That's all right. Oh, this is the last one. This is gonna be a good one to end on. This is gonna be a good one to end on. It's not good. It's horrible. But again, it's just history. We gotta understand it. Who's familiar? We switching gears a little bit, and some of us are gonna show our age, and others are gonna probably not know who we're talking about at all, right? I believe Cap and I were talking about this. We might have been talking about this in the school over the weekend. Who's familiar with Kit, the car? Who's familiar with Kit, the black car from the 80s that spoke? Forgot, what was that cat's name? The cat who drove, I forgot what the name was. Yep, will do. Likewise, so can you give me a recap of the dates and titles of the events before leaving tonight? Absolutely, we can. We will. All right, we're not going to get back through all of them, but matter of fact, I'll recap. Yeah, I just have to open it back up. No sweat. I got you. There you go. The talking car. Right, exactly. The talking car. Right. This is Zamanan said Khan. Knight Rider. I want you to remember that. Knight Rider. Mr. King, yes, it said Khan. Knight Rider. Right. Officer Yagadar said Knight Rider. David Hasselhoff. Right. Knight Rider. Y'all are absolutely on it. All right. This is the next one we're at. And I may. What time is it? This is so Salakis, I'm gonna this is gonna spill over to next class anyway, because I'm not gonna be able to cover all the sad as that statement is. I'm not gonna be able to cover all of the events that took place after the ones that we are documenting anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get through probably this one. The next class we're going to pick back up, and then I'll recap all the dates and the names and everything. All right, is that too wild for you, sis? Let me know. All right. All right, I'm going to share this screen. All right, most high class. All right, this was in 1912. Back in early 1900, 1912. This county in Georgia uh, drove out every black resident. So like, yo, shut it out. I got you. We're gonna recap it next class. We're gonna recap it in a succinct manner, and then we're gonna get through the rest of them. I'm gonna try to get your notes better. So like, all right. It says the northern county affluents heavily white and conservative. Its demographics are shaped by an event that happened in 1912 when white people forced out all 1,098 of 4/6 black residents, who comprised about 10% of the population at the time. Says there was, in fact, a white woman who was murdered in unalived in 1912, and her name was May Crow. She was 18 years old and was found under very mysterious circumstances, beaten and bloody and unconscious in the woods. This case is still unsolved and will likely remain so since there are no more living witnesses. Yet at the time, the only young black men living in that part of the country were accused of the crime. A man named Rob Edwards was lynched almost immediately on Town Square, and this turned out to be a lynching that most of the community participated in. Most of the community participated in. Thousands of people showed up to watch the lynching and joined in and fired bullets into his corpse. Don't see y'all got them devils that were in Oprah. They were on Oprah show? Let me know. I was not aware of that. Since the county also lynched Oscar Daniel and Ernest Knox, both teenage boys. I'm assuming, when was this, back in maybe the 80s or the 90s? Y'all get done? Both teenage boys. Because after that, white vigilantes drove every black person out of the county and enforced its borders as white only until into the 1980s. This expulsion wasn't bizarre. Well, it wasn't a bizarre anomaly in one part of the country. Between the 1860s and 1920s, white Americans drove thousands of black residents from their communities. Okay, most high Christ. He said, "Come." He said, "Come." All right, absolutely. Since Zalmanah said over 1,000 of our people were unalive. Now, is this? I don't think it covered it in here. So this is. It didn't cover it in this article. No sweat. So here's the deal. This is what I wanted y'all to see, but I didn't. It must not have been in this article. But this is, if y'all look this up, y'all will be able to find it. Shalom, Sister Aisha's in the building. All right, good to see you, sis. So, what they did in this particular event, they drove everybody out. How they did it, I must have pulled up a different article. How they did it, they went through, they set fire, they did drive-bys, right? Drive-bys is something that people think we made up. We didn't. Drive-bys at the time were on, horses, but they did this. They terrorized this community so much at night that they called these people the night riders. That's where that term comes from. That show, it's not the first time that term was used. This is. 98% of the people of black people left Forsyth County as a result of this. And they got them out. They got our brothers and sisters out by riding around at night, terrorizing these folks. And they called them the Night Riders. You can't make, I mean, I wish I was making this shit up. I really do. I really do. I had a class, I don't know how long ago it was. We speak our oppression every day. We just don't know it. These terms get used and we don't know where they come from. They sound cool. I mean, I was the biggest fan of Night Rider as a kid. I don't think my parents were aware where this came from to be able to tell our people, again, we have a terrible association with history. Absolutely. Sister Namna said, wow. Sister Raya said, wow. Y'all can easily Google this. Look it up if y'all don't believe me. Not saying that y'all don't, but just I wanted it in the article and it's not there, so it's bothering me. But y'all can Google it. It's easily able to be looked up. Esau is something else. He absolutely is. Absolutely is. This is something that, again, we have a terrible association or disassociation with our history. We don't learn these things. We have to go looking for these things. They're not going to tell it to us in school. I think this is the 10th or 11th story that we're going through. Most of us know Tulsa, Oklahoma, which we ain't even got to yet. We haven't even gotten to Tulsa yet. We haven't gotten to Rosewood yet. Seneca Village, if you all were familiar with that, that was the first one we covered. But those are the three main ones that our people, the average person who has some perspective on Black history, will be able to talk about. But there's like 18 or 20 of them that I have. And we've gone through about half of that. It's so important to know what our people have gone through, to have a perspective of the type of destruction that our communities have faced and continue to face, but to know where it comes from. To know that this is not, it's really nothing new. Well, I'm not going to tell y'all that. I'm going to give it away. It's super important that we know these things because so much of it is still around. We don't understand it. We don't know where it comes from. We start using this language, and then we find out later it comes from what? If y'all remember, we talked about the whole, what is it? Cat got your tongue. If anybody was in that class, the cat is a cat of nine tails. That is a whip. That is a whip. The cat of nine tails had all those strings on it, and they had oftentimes they'll have metal on the end. And they were used to whip people. And when you were whipped to the point that you could not speak, the cat got your tongue. That's where that comes from. So these things are just in this. We're in this captivity. And without knowing these things, we will continue to be destroyed. Without coming into the truth, we will continue to be destroyed. Without following law, statutes, and commandments, we will continue to be destroyed. You are a brother or sister who has any understanding that you are an Israelite, you need to make the phone call, whether it's to a school in your zone or a school here in Virginia. You need to come into the school and learn what you should be doing to make sure you can be a part of getting the Most High back on our side as a nation. Sister Raya says Deuteronomy 17 and 15, don't put these other nations over us. Exactly. Exactly. Our people don't understand it. Every time they go into a voting booth, and I think somebody's voting tomorrow. I only know that because my daughter's school is closed. I think there's some kind of damn election tomorrow. People don't know that every time you do that, you're participating in your oppression. And you're not following what the Most High said to do or to not do in that case. Our people don't understand that. It just perpetuates the situation that we're in. So it makes our job as priests and prophets of the Lord that much more important. Again, if you are a brother who has a perspective, who understands that our nation as a people are just destroyed and under the foot of this oppressor, then call the school. Call the school, get an all black, become part of the solution. Become part of the solution. Put your work in. All right. If there are no other questions or anything, we're just past 9 o'clock. I don't want to necessarily get into another story because I got so many to go through. So we're gonna next class. Next class. We'll make sure we organize them. I get y'all a summary of the dates and the titles that we have gone through so far, and then we'll get to the rest of it. And wrap up next class. My plan was to wrap this up this class, but when I saw Daryl Davis, I couldn't just let that go. Salaki. Oh, the water, sis. The water, Sister Nizam. Now, Sister Aquad Raya is absolutely right. Salaki, I did not say that. Absolutely, she's correct. And sisters continue to uplift these brothers. Listen, the brothers in the school, we go out and we teach and we teach class and we go on the street and we go out and try to wake our people up. Sisters in this school are absolutely valuable as well. Sisters are absolutely valuable because brothers need support. We need support, and these sisters do a wonderful job. The sisters in the ISUPK do an awesome job supporting the brothers in this truth. This is not easy work to do, and it's not easy on our sisters all the time. And y'all absolutely give them a hand because they do an amazing job. All right. Then again, if you are a sister who understands that your people are destroyed, and you want to come in and be a part of the solution, you as well. Now you can't be a trooper. You can't teach, and that's biblical. All right, but you can come in and support the brothers in waking up the rest of the nation. You all have an absolutely integral part. All right, you're very, very important. The world would have our sisters believe that we don't like sisters and we don't care for sisters. There's nothing further from the truth. Every brother in the school loves sisters. If there's any confusion, that is absolutely the truth. All right. So why Christ is always in class? Most High Christ, the water. I appreciate it. No doubt is going to war when they out there. Absolutely right. I appreciate it, sister. It's absolutely war when we out there. It's absolute war, but this is why we need good sisters in school to support brothers. Y'all make going to war easier. A good woman makes going to war easy. All right. Most High Christ. And with that, we're gonna get to the security announcements. All right. We had an ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18 and 21. You can also find it in Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. It means tenth, and in the Hebrew is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you. You can give it to the Treasury Department. You can also go directly to ISUPK.com and pay it there. Priest Fund, which is a free will offering for the priest. It's not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation days. The next one is Passover. Passover. We talk about it. We're going to continue to talk about it. We are just, what are we, about a month and a half away? About a month and a half. Passover is actually on the 20th, but there are events going on from the 17th to the 21st. I believe the 17th is the slaughter of the lamb. The 18th, I think, is the black party. The 19th, John Hyman's class. And the 20th is Passover, and the 21st is a Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right, so there's going to be, and that your registration fee is $200. That covers everything. All right, covers all the events. Make sure your registration fee is paid. Make sure your hotel reservations and everything is made. Make sure your time off is taken. Again, it's in Durham, North Carolina. Very, very close, relatively speaking. All right, within driving distance. I want to say it's well, it's gonna be different for it's 2 to 3 hours away. I think almost from anywhere in Virginia. As long as you're not in Northern Virginia or something like that. But either way, um, all very close, right? And we've had time. We continue to have. I mean, a month and a half is not a long period of time, but it is enough time to get any affairs in order that you need. So make sure that is done. Make sure you are in the building. If anybody who has not been to Passover, you are going to be in for an extreme treat. All right, it's hard to even put in words, but it's glorious. That's the best way I can say it. Sister I said, I can't wait to see my family. Damn right, live and in person. Kwame Al damn right. But that's going to be our next Holy Convocation. Then after that, after Passover, there is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Start getting your mind right with that. It will be a week where every day we only are going to eat unleavened bread. That means it's not, it's not rise. Doesn't have a rising agent, so it's no. It's flat bread, and you can make sure there's no baking soda in there, and you'll get more information on that as it gets closer to make sure we are following the Holy Convocation Day to a T. All right, it's something that definitely needs to be planned for. That's not something you do on a whim. You plan for that, and you get all the yeast and leavening agents out of your house. It's a week where it's something that you are have to be very mindful of. All right, and that's meant to make sure we are remembering what our ancestors went through when they left Egypt. When the Most High brought us out of Egypt, we left in a hurry. We did not have time to prepare bread and let it rise and all that good stuff before we ate it. We had to leave in a hurry, and so they had to eat unleavened bread. So that's what we do as well. All right. And with that, if any brother wants to be a trooper in school, again, you need to be in all black. That's black boots, pants, shirt, headband, and war scarf. Make sure you call if you are in Virginia. Call the Virginia School 757-550-1204. I did not have my banner up, so lock here for that. And if any sister wants to be actually in the school, be a sister that's in the school, not necessarily just online in class, make sure you call as well. 757-550-1204. Let also Uriah Shamatha, Captain Nasazat Nashah know that you want, as a brother, that you want to be a trooper, and as a sister that you want to be in the school and get your Hebrew name and all that good stuff. And that will actually get you into the body. All right. And especially we say it repeatedly, we're going to say it again, especially with Passover coming up. If you are planning on going to Passover, you need to call the school and let the Adawanya know. Let them know that that's something you're going to do. We actually care about our people, so we're going to make sure that somebody's in contact with you to make sure you get there safe, to make sure you're accounted for while you're there, and then make sure you get home. All right. It's out of absolute love. We are moving as a unit as much as possible, and that is of the Most High, doing everything in order. All right. And with that, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, and to the sisters, Shalom Yahweh Shemor Alathan, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Until next time, Shalom Israel.